and I will be, okay? Hi, everyone. I'm Angie Abreu. I'm the founder of Dominican Writers Association. Welcome back to the Writers Salon, back to writing every Sunday with our beautiful community. Today we have Elaine Nadal. Elaine is a Pushcart Prize and Best of the Net nominee. She is the author of 2 poetry chapbooks, When and Sweat, Dance, Sing, and Cut, published by Finishing Line Press. Her fiction and poetry have appeared in several journals and anthologies. She has shared work at many venues. She is also a TEDx. She has also done a TEDx talk on hope, poetry, and music. Elaine, you can take it away.
Hi, everyone. I'm so glad that you are here. In this workshop, we will discuss music and poetry and how we can discover the song within us. We will examine in 3 aspects: struggle, discovery, and overcoming. This was already mentioned, but if you want to connect with me, I'm on Instagram. My website is also here and my email as well. And I hope that you do connect with me. Today, we will analyze poetry, the music in poetry. We'll talk about music as well. Discuss some strategies for writing a musical poem or a poem about music. Write or map out a musical poem. I'm very excited. I think we'll have a lot of fun. Just some housekeeping rules. Let's use the chat box to socialize. Feel free to have a notebook and writing utensil. And of course, we will reserve some time at the end for you to share your poem or ideas if you'd like. So right now, let's do some brainstorming. Think of a song that means a lot to you. It could be a song from childhood, adolescence, or adulthood. What memories or images come to mind? I have some examples here of some of my favorite songs. And Mi Viejo San Juan is a song that I learned in 1st grade, and it really made an impact in me. Some bachata, because I love bachata, Medicina de Amor de Raulín. When the Saints Go Marching In, because that was the first song that I played on the saxophone in 5th grade. Juan Luis Guerra, because he is amazing, and I love many of his songs, as well as Fernando Villalonas. And Nina Simone's Don't Let Me Be Misunderstood. So take a minute or so to think of a song that means a lot to you, and you can type it on the chat. You can also say why it is a song that means a lot to you. So I'll give you a minute or so. And it could be like a song that you dance to, your first dance. Does anyone have something to put on the chat box? Any song? Todo tiene su hora by Juan Luis Guerra. I absolutely love that song. Tiempo de Vals, Chayanne. Oh, Sweet 16. Oh, awesome. I always wanted a quinceañera. I never got one, but let's see, El Jardinero and Old Merengue I used to dance to with my uncle, who was like my brother. Oh, wow, in DR. Oh, there's a rap in it. Which was about to be known hip hop as I did. Mi Libertad, Jerry Rivera. Oh my goodness, I love Jerry Rivera. For Love. Sergio Vargas, Víctor Manuel por ella. Soy una ola, Luisito Rey, Alejandro Fernández. Como quien perdió una estrella was one of my favorite songs by Alejandro Fernández. Thank you so much for typing some of these songs that mean a lot to you, because I want you to keep those songs in mind, because music is very important. And so we're going to divide this into 3 topics, I guess, if you want to say it. The first one is struggle. We're going to think about music and also poetry. As we analyze the music and poems, we will think about these things. And also, I included as a note, you can draw upon your own experiences, but poems don't need to be autobiographical. Your poems can be based on your observations and the things that move you. So we will start with the first one. Okay, here we go. This is an excerpt from one of my poems. It's called Within, and I'm just going to read it. Mother didn't like my grieving. I had music blasting. I can't tell you how often I've cried to a salsa or merengue. Sometimes the lyrics are sad, you know. Other times they're happy songs that help me get through. There wouldn't be a need for happy songs if there was no suffering. But mother didn't like my grieving. I tried telling her not to take the music away. I couldn't handle the silence, the truth I discovered. Sometimes it is only after the flower is cut that we learn about its loneliness. And Abuela died lonely and in pain. I felt an unrecognizable hunger. One must not live by bread only. I know I've got guilt, Abuela's words, and a song in my heart I can't manage to sing. Now, this is from my poem Within. And as we think about music, here merengue and salsa, I don't know about the experience that you've had about music, and as we share, I think it's great. But for me, grieving, I do remember playing merengue and salsa. And my mom was like, "That's too loud," and that's just how I grieve. And salsa music and merengue music moves me so much. Sadly, there is a misconception that music in Spanish all sounds the same or doesn't have depth, which is so false. It's so far from the truth. You have call and response. It has so many rhythms, polyrhythmic, and it is such a moving thing. Actually, it is so complex that if anyone deviates from what it's being done, like on salsa or merengue, it doesn't sound no longer like enjoyable music. It sounds like noise, and it is such a beautiful, complex genres, and there's so much diversity in it. We're going to continue with another brainstorming. You've thought about a song, or perhaps more than one, that mean a lot to you. What kinds of songs do you gravitate towards? What catches your attention? Is it the lyrics, the rhythm, the rhyme, the sound, the instrumentation, so the instruments that are there, the voice, or the experiences that the song captures? So think about that, and you can type if you'd like some of your answers on the chat so that we can share. You thought maybe of a song or two. Some of you typed it on the chat box that really have moved you, that mean a lot to you. What type of songs now do you gravitate towards? I'm hearing lyrics, the lyrics. It's so interesting because I know a lot of people are like, oh, I like this song, but sometimes they're like, oh, I just like the beat, you know. I listen to the lyrics as well. So I have the mood, the vibe. Oh yes, this is why I can never pick a favorite song. It always depends on the mood. That's a very that's very good comment. Yes, it is true. The mood, it means a lot. Yeah, music with a catchy rhythm, powerful voices, strong musical instruments. La letra, yes, merengue, salsa, slow melodies. Thank you so much for sharing. This is wonderful. The first 10 seconds catch my attention, and then the lyrics and how they flow through the music to connect. Ooh, music that tells, oh my goodness, Hidalmi, music that tells a story. When I put one of the slides in Mi Viejo San Juan, that's what drew me into that song. It was the storytelling of En Mi Viejo San Juan. After that song, like I wrote my first story. I was only in first grade, but I knew that I really liked storytelling. And it is what got me into writing poetry and into writing fiction. It was actually when I heard En Mi Viejo San Juan, I'm like, oh my goodness, this song is so moving and it tells this story. And that was great that you mentioned that comment, because that's exactly what we'll be talking about. We're talking about music and also poetry, and how we can tell stories and discover the music within us as well. So it's beautiful. Thank you so much for sharing. Thank you everyone for sharing. Let's see. So this is a poem in a musical form is in the blues format. And as we think about our works and also our experiences, I want to share this poem. Now, a lot of poems don't have to be autobiographical. This poem actually came from a workshop that I went to in New York. And I got the idea in New York. The presenter talked about the blues format, but I didn't finish it in the workshop. I know some people, they were given like 15, 20 minutes and they wrote these poems, and I actually felt badly because I couldn't finish the poem in that time allotted. So I want to say to you that whatever time a piece or a poem takes you, it's the time that it needs. So don't feel badly about how long it takes for you to write something. I had the idea at this workshop, and I'll talk a little bit about it, but it's in the blues format. So it is very musical, AAB, which means that the first two lines repeat and the next line is a response to the first two lines. And it is based on the deaths of my cousin and of my grandmother. I gave the box of chocolates. For days, I couldn't eat a thing. I gave the box of chocolates. For days, I couldn't eat a thing. My little cousin isn't here. She took the flowers of spring. I was on a plane to Paris when she was on her bed dying. I was on a plane to Paris when she was on her bed dying. A soul can only take so much. It'd been 2 years of her crying. This wasn't the first time it happened. I couldn't hold grandmother's hand. This wasn't the first time it happened. I didn't hold grandmother's hand. I thought I had more time to give. I shouldn't have played in the sand. I won't go on a trip anymore because I know what my lot brings. I won't go on a trip anymore because I know what my lot brings. I shouldn't go around flying. I don't deserve to have wings. Now, when I wrote this poem, it was a couple years after my cousin passed away, and several years after my grandmother passed away. And I had so much inside me. And when the presenter talked about the blues and the AAB, I literally spent like 10, 15 minutes thinking, okay, what do I want to write about? And I got this, and it took me, I think, a few days to put it together. And in this poem, like I said, it's AAB, so there is repetition, and we'll talk about that as a strategy when you write. I'm going to share 2 poems consecutively, and then I'll have you do a brainstorming activity. So I'm going to share these consecutively. And here we go. This is under the category struggle. Blue Bridge. If you understood, you'd know that my song isn't about cherubs, cherry blossoms, or a charming prince. It's an empty rocking chair, a wind chime, a chromatic harmony, a holler, a wrinkled shadow, a distant heart, a familiar stranger with calluses on his feet, a wanderer eating rice with bare hands. Blue notes to wash the soil, blue notes to gather the soil, blue notes to part the sea. Crossing is hard, cross is heavy. Caterpillar can't swim, horse can't fly. Blue notes to wash the soil, blue notes to gather the soil, blue notes to part the sea. I'm actually going to pause. I was going to do it consecutively, but I've changed my mind. Putting this up, if you can type on the chat, what do you notice about the poem? What, if you notice any musicality? If so, what do you notice? I'll give you like a couple minutes. I'm getting, I love the blues, so much feeling in those songs. The refrain of blue notes, it's like a repetition. Oh my goodness, yes. Mary, awesome. Repetition. The sounds are repeated with words. Oh my goodness. Yes, I love it. So I'm repetition, like waves, cherubs, cherry, charming prince. Charming prince was great. There is repetition, and we'll talk about using repetition, not overindulging repetition, but purposeful repetition, and also the repetition of the C sound and alliteration. Alliteration when you repeat the same sounds at the beginning, cherubs, cherry blossoms, charming prince. That's wonderful. And these are some of the aspects that make these poems musical, that give musicality to these poems. I will continue with daughter. I apologize if the words are too small. I was trying to get as much as I could on the slide. This is called Daughter. In my dream, I was a doll on a revolving pedestal, a doll with long black hair wearing a white dress that sparkled like father's cold blue eyes. He taught us how to see the world, a space of suffering with few pockets of joy, with people who love you for a moment and then discard you after you fulfilled a purpose. In my dream, people loved me. I was beautiful. My smile was the sunrise reflecting only what I wanted to show. Father was good. He worked overtime. Father was bad. He beat us with belt buckles and pulled our hair. Father was good. He beat us because he wanted to protect us. Mother told on us. Mother was bad. She knew it would get him angry, but she wanted him to love her. In my dream, no one saw me cry. Father hated crying. He said it shows weakness, so he got mad instead. Mother cried all the time. When father came late, when he called her ugly, when he hit her for looking at a man's chest on TV. It was all for our own good, father told us. His mama never beat him. His daddy never beat him. They gave him away. They let him go. Blue notes to wash the soil. Blue notes to gather the soil. Blue notes to part the sea. I'm looking for a lullaby that can help me fall asleep. A blue light, a blue dream. In my dream, I was lonely as I am now, standing on a rotating pedestal, smiling before an audience, and crying when my back was turned. Next activity or brainstorming, if you can think of 3 to 5 favorite words. I'm a Spanish teacher, and I play music and I do poetry with the students. And it's so funny because the student noticed, like, you know what? A lot of the songs that you play have corazón on it. Corazón, and what does it mean, right? I teach level 1. What does corazón mean? I want you to think of 3 to 5 favorite words, and why did you choose those words? I like, if you notice from my the poem that I share, I like the C sounds. So cactus, corazón, rocks. So think of 3 to 5 favorite words. Why did you choose those words? It could be that you like the sound. It could just be that you like the image. I love avocado, so I love the word avocado. So if you can share some of your favorite words, some words that you like the sound, maybe they're musical, you like the imagery that it brings. Ooh, rescue poetics, dreamer. I love that word. It opens up the impossible. And it's so interesting. I think dream is such an important word. What I've noticed too, just like from teaching or talking to people, a lot of times when you get older, you sort of like forget to dream. You know, you think, oh, it's just a dream. It can't happen. And it's not true. You can make your dreams come true and be a dreamer. I love that word, dreamer. Thank you, Rescue Poetics. Sunburst. The imagery of the sun bursting through the clouds and shining on everything inspires power, warmth. I love the sound of that word too. Sunburst, sunburst. I love the sound. Artists are born from dreams. Beautiful rescue poetics. Oh, I like the words with the letter. Is that I or L at the beginning? Oh, I. Isolation, inertia, instincts. It's very interesting for those that are thinking of these words. Like, do you use these a lot in your work? Um, oh, this is with the letter I, isolation. Thank you so much. Integrity. I like words that start with L. Love, lullaby, lavender. Oh my goodness, I love lullaby and lavender melody. I love those words. Horizon, something to aspire to that seems beyond our touch, and yet we strive to embrace it. Inspiration. It's beautiful. These poems I have in the section of discovery. Uh, is this poem like the words, is it like a good size? Are you able to, let me go back. Are you able to read it? If you guys can just share on the chat. I tried to make it, I would like to just give you a few minutes to just read it and then we'll talk about it. So this is a section on discovery, and just to give you a background, uh, I do love the saxophone and I'll talk about the saxophone, but if you can read this to yourselves and then type any ideas or thoughts on the poem, I'll give you a few minutes. Nice. You could write any thoughts, anything that you've noticed as far as um, techniques or strategies. Uh, so to the saxophone I bought from my aunt, who later passed it on to my mother, who handed it to me. Oh, yes, Lily, I like the included cross out bits. How Abuela saved money from her three jobs to give us music. So this is a poem about music, and it does have a little bit of musicality. If you speak two languages, do not be afraid to include two languages in your work. That is who you are. And the Ave Maria to me, I thought made it very musical. I am going to read the poem now that you've read it to yourself. I am going to read the poem. A lot of times when I write, I like to read my work many, many times just to see the sounds. But It is very true. My grandmother did buy my aunt is saxophone. She passed it on to my mom and then to me. And I did make it squeak a lot. Like in the original songs that really have impacted me, When the Saints Go Marching In is one of them because I played it in fifth grade. And this poem is about the sacrifices of my grandmother. And unfortunately, I didn't get to know much about her until she passed away. When I was 16, I became very curious and wanted to know about her life because her experiences, even though they were her experiences, that have impacted me. And she's one of the reasons why I do write. I to keep her memory and also because of all the sacrifices that she made coming here from the Dominican Republic, working really hard and making sure that we do have music because it's such an integral piece. I remember the songs she sang, the last song she sang in church before she died. I remember the last song she sang with us in the car. So I will read this poem. If I knew how to write a note, I would write one to the saxophone I used to play in my youth. I would write it in pen and include the smudges and crossed out words. I would write it near a window at 5 o'clock in the morning, the same time Abuela would wake up to say her prayers. I would establish a pattern of rhythm and perhaps begin it with a statement identifying myself. Not a question like, do you remember me from high school? But something much more profound. I would express my gratitude for jazz and swing, improvisation and freedom, risk and candor, passion and heart. I would confess how its tone, color, and language have taken my breath away and illuminated my path. My beloved instrument is worthy of a note both flowery and rugged, and if I could, I would write one with conviction and remorse. I would offer an apology for my neglect. I wouldn't mention our disagreements or complain about his squeaking. I wouldn't try to explain that I let everything go because I was a little lazy and felt inadequate. My heart has been offbeat. There's so many feelings I wish to release. I wish I could explain that I wasn't disenchanted by his old age or the dent in its spell. I didn't want to change it. I didn't want to repair it, for the dent was evidence of struggle and hard work. And Abuela knew it would mark us forever. Ave Maria, if I could only write a note, I would remind my esteemed saxophone how it was chosen. How Abuela saved money from her 3 jobs to give us music so we could create our own. I would propose a new beginning. I would end it with what I've learned. Sacrifice and perseverance bear much fruit, and deep-rooted love guides you to growth. These poems are under discovery. I'll have you read this to yourself, The Bachata Singer. This is discovery of sensuality, of romance. And then you can put your thoughts. When we think about poetry, music, and poems, music and poetry encompasses so many things. And this one is about romance, about an awakening in sensuality. And it uses 2 languages. And that's why I say, like, if you're writing, don't be afraid to use 2 languages. It makes it more musical. It is who you are. It is your identity. The Bachata Singer. 5 planets are visible tonight. I am still a loose thread, a tuneless shell. He sings with a broken wing, con sentimiento. The stage is a sky, his song blood red like a ruby star, intoxicates the room, dimly lit with wanderers like me, disenchanted souls looking for wine. The guitar cries crimson rays, turning sorrow into suspiro. It tastes like tomorrow. I awaken. Let me touch you. Bachateame, papi. Now I already see, like, I remember I had mentioned the sounds. I like the C sounds, cries, crimson, also the alliteration. I like the sound too of, like, yes, his song, Blood Red like a ruby star. I love those sounds. And I did include, I'm seeing that it tastes like tomorrow in Suspiro. I've learned, anyone here bake Dominican cakes? I've heard like Suspiro is like what you put on the cake, right? It's like that cream. I was researching videos. I wish I could make Dominican cake, but does anyone here know how to make Dominican cake? I love Dominican cake. Yeah, Maria Escalante. Yes. Oh my goodness, I love it. I haven't had it in a while. So Suspiro, it has like this, like it's like a sigh, but it's also, you know, what is it, like a cream is what you put on the Dominican cake, right? Um, so that I think it's called merengue too. I'm not sure if anyone. I love to eat Dominican cake whenever I can. Yes.
In English, they say the frosting.
Okay. What do you say? The what?
The frosting.
The frosting. Okay. Oh my goodness.
I like
Thank
Suspiro a lot better.
And yes, suspiros are so much better. That's why I said, like, if you speak two languages, then you can sprinkle. That makes the poem even, or writing whatever piece, more musical. And and it's really kind of discovering yourself as well. Someone asked me if I write poems first in Spanish or English. Most of my poetry is in English, but it takes me longer to write. However, whenever I write the poem originally in Spanish, it's so quick. Like it just comes out very quickly. Whereas when I write in English, even though I mostly write in English, most of the poems are in English, it may take me a while, but whenever it's just in Spanish, it just flows so quickly. I can bake, Mari, suspiro is delicious, but making suspiro is a challenge. In Mexico se llama chantilly. Oh, that's awesome. Oh, I guess chantilly in DR is whipped cream. So this is another one about music, and it's also discovery. So first we did struggle, now discovery. And writing is a good exercise, whether you write poetry, fiction, because you are discovering yourself, and we will get into that very soon. This is about music, and it had to do with an experience that I had. I was having a rough day, and this happens, I think, in the human experience. I forgot how much I enjoyed music and singing and writing, and then all of a sudden, I remembered a song that I used to sing when I was younger, and I began to sing it out of nowhere. I was just like feeling down, my spirits were down. I began to sing the song out of nowhere, and then my spirits were uplifted. I'm like, oh my goodness, I forgot how much I enjoyed this song. I forgot how much this song brings me hope, and it just makes me feel better. So this is about, I guess, rediscovering music, but also rediscovering the music within me, right? That there's like a place of peace, of hope. So this is a love letter to music. I forgot I had known you. I didn't remember your ways, your body, how it moved like a snake sometimes, or a dolphin, spontaneous and playful, leaping for air. And you are air. I had known you, the manner in which you move a heart dispirited by storms. You catch the storms and they become dissonant wonders. How did I manage to live like this, with the heaviness of things without your sky? I wasn't looking for you. Your embrace came unexpectedly on a cold day of thunder and lightning. You saw me off key with achy, dry bones sitting on my sofa with too many pillows. Your eyes, finding beauty in a desert or pasture, lit up the room. A song rose from slumber, and I felt alive, a little less lonely. I will cherish you. I will take the debris, the roots, the particles, the pockets of joy, the butterfly, and the cocoon from which it came. And I will turn it all into breath, into life, into you. This last section before I give you time to write and we talk about some of the strategies is about overcoming, surviving. And I have these in three: the struggle, the discovery, the overcoming. This is the last section. I just have a couple of poems for this one. And this is called I Got Out. I've got a jam that'll make you go tapping, clapping, whistling stars and sunsets. A sticky song a nightingale envies, a refrain ringing with gardenias and birthstones. Going beats, beats, beats. The heart is alive after tightness and strain, and it won't refrain from loving and feeling smooth. My melody's got no edges, no nicks or tricks. It rolls from ripened fruit, an indisposed ray. Some inherited spoils reconstructed. Nothing, nothing in my song is wasted. Some say not intricate, that it's missing a labyrinth. They don't know my tune, how it came from the guts, the grit in my palms, the jagged silhouette of hunger. Growling, fretting, pressing, trying to escape to make it out okay. I was starving. I was holding on, fighting, praying for a silver lining inside the belly of a whale. This one, if you can read on your own and you can comment, leave any comments. I'll read it afterwards, but I want to give you like a minute or so to read it. And then you can make any comments, anything musical that you notice, any alliteration, any sounds. I can feel the movement in this poem so much that I started shoulder sheeming as I read on. I'm going to now read it. I read it because it could. Yes, yes. I realized I missed the up and everywhere. My hair was free. Free sigreñas dancing with the winds. Son, cha-cha, mambo, salsa. Divided into sections, each doing its thing. A chaotic consortium of exotic flavors. Jazzy, raspy, sultry, gutsy, swaying, wailing, grooving, moving, dragging, shaking, stepping, pressing, improvising, synchronizing, calling, responding. Nothing could stop it. Gels, lotions, perms, rolos, strong, tenacious, bold, perseverant. It stood up everywhere because it could. So let's talk about some strategies and tips when you write a poem about music or any piece about music. So you can write about your experience with music. Some of the poems that I share that I've written about the saxophone my grandmother gave me, about my experiences with grieving. Form, I showed an AAB form. So that poem was in the blues format. Repetition is great. Use this carefully and purposefully. It does create a musical element. Alliteration, when you repeat that in the first syllable, the same sound. Rhythm. If you're bilingual, you can use both languages. These are some strategies and tips. And it's time to create some music. Writing is such a personal thing. When I did my TEDx talk and I had to share the poem about my grandmother and my cousin, it was very hard for me to go back there, right? And to think about my experiences. And it is a personal thing. And please remember that you are a symphony comprised of struggle, discovery, and victories, as well as your sensory input. So what you write, also like what you hear, listen, feel, the senses are so important. So even if you're not writing about your particular experiences, what you take in your senses, you're also comprised of that. You have an incredible and unique voice that needs to be heard. And with the strategies discussed in mind, begin to brainstorm, write your poem. Your poem can be about an instrument, sounds like the alarm clock, which I hate when that alarm clock sounds. I haven't written a poem about the alarm clock, but I would like to. Pouring of coffee, and the senses when you write, the senses of when someone pours coffee, the feelings that it brings you. A rooster in the morning, your first dance, your first concert, any subject or experience containing musical elements. Now you are brainstorming and writing. The piece does not need to be finished now, but it can be started now, and I'll give you some time. And during this time, you can ask questions. You can share your ideas on the chat, which would be fantastic. As a matter of fact, do you guys have any questions before I give you time to write? And hopefully some of you will share your ideas out hopefully out loud, not like in the chat box. But are there any questions? Take this time to write, and if you have any questions, I'm here to answer, and we can ask each other questions too at this time. So before we continue, does anyone want to share any ideas that they have so far? There's still more time to work on the piece. Does anyone want to share out loud? Awesome, awesome. So I think I just have to ask you to unmute, right? There we go. That's how it works.
Hola, can you hear me?
Yes.
Ah, wonderful.
Hey,
Hola.
I'm going to try to stop the share so that I can, let's see.
I don't have my camera on, so
Oh, it's okay.
Okay.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
moving to max the volume. I had to reach the radio, even if it meant to hear the chorus over and over. 3 minutes radio cut, can't put it on repeat, and yet it keeps playing on in my head. Qué orgullo, mi preciosa. Palabras de pasión. With windows all down, maxed so everyone can hear, sharing the minutes con el mundo. Y yo sé que lo que son los encantos, especially on summer days when the music carries on the breeze.
Wow, that was so can you I want to okay. Can you read that one more time?
Sure.
Thank you. It's so beautiful. Yeah.
Moving to max the volume, I had to reach the radio, even if it meant to hear the chorus over and over. 3 minutes radio cut, can't put on repeat, and yet it keeps playing in my head. Qué orgullo, mi preciosa, palabras de pasión. With windows all down, max so everyone can hear, sharing these minutes con el mundo. No sé lo que son los encantos, especially on summer days when the music carries on the breeze.
Oh, that was so beautiful. Oh, that was so beautiful. I didn't want to forget the line, but like I had to reach the radio. Like I felt like it was I felt like this longing, like to reach, you know what I mean? To reach it. It was just so beautiful. And your mix of both languages was absolutely fantastic. Thank you for sharing. Anyone else want to share? It doesn't have to be the full piece. It could just be an idea of what you're thinking, because you can definitely have more time to write your piece. Oh, Jennifer.
Good morning.
Hey, Jennifer.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Okay. I am practicing my poems, so it's very messy, but I just want to share to hear your point of view. The title is Creciendo. Levantándome en las mañanas con melodías y merenguitos de Fernando Villalona. Papi getting ready to head out. Me dice, nos vemos ahorita, Rubita. Pasan días y mis ganas de bailar un merenguito con papi se van. Pero ¿qué va? Creciendo voy. Me levanto en la mañana, me tomo un cafecito con leche, playing some merengue in the background while I get ready to head out. Mientras recuerdo que papi nunca volvió. Creciendo. Nos vemos ahorita, mujercita. Don't be sad.
Oh, that was so moving. No, it's a good thing. That's like what musical poems, like you just, you feel it. And I love, like, you had a little bit of rhyming there too. Can you read it one more time? Puedes leerlo otra vez?
Which part? Like entirely?
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Okay, creciendo. Levantándome en las mañanas con melodías y merenguitos de Fernando Villalona. Papi getting ready to head out. Me dice, nos vemos ahorita, Rubita. Pasan los días y mis ganas de bailar un merenguito con papi se van. Pero ¿qué va? Creciendo voy. Me levanto en la mañana, me tomo un cafecito con leche, playing some merengue in the background while I get ready to head out. mientras recuerdo que papi nunca volvió. Creciendo. Nos vemos ahorita, mujercita.
Qué lindo. Qué lindo. First, I love the title, Creciendo. And I love like how in the piece you're actually like it's moving along. Like you see like all the steps. It sounds like a song. And I like how you have Ahorita Rubita. It's Rubita, te llamaban Rubita.
Yeah.
Oh, I love Ahorita Rubita.
I feel like
Creciendo voy. Uh-huh.
I feel like it's also like growing with the title. Because then at the end,
Yes.
the mujercita, yeah. I just
Oh,
realized that.
it's so beautiful. Like you feel that it's like steps. You feel the growth, and the title goes very, very well. We call it like crescendo. It crescendos, and it's
Mm,
that Jennifer, that was beautiful. Thank you so much for sharing.
Thank you.
I also see a parallel in Awakening, despertando, ¿no? Las mañanitas, todo eso, y después al final despertándose al hecho de Papá no vuelve.
Thank you, Rosita.
Wow, it's beautiful. That there's a
Ru-
beginning and an end, and in the meantime you're growing.
Oh my goodness, that was you, Rosita, that said that comment. That's beautiful because I think that piece had all three, right? You had like the struggle, the discovery. It had like everything in that piece. Both beautiful pieces. Thank you so much. That was beautiful.
I'm
I
sorry for
have
your experience. It's
Oh,
hard, I'm sure. It touched me.
oh, thank you.
it was very moving, Jennifer.
Thank you, Jennifer.
Oh, guys.
It was very moving. And it's to write like a vulnerable piece, you know what I mean? Like
Right.
that song and it's touching because it came from, you can tell like you have that, it's within you. It was beautiful.
Right.
Now I feel like putting my camera on. That's respect.
Yeah, put your camera on.
Don't laugh.
You have to
Oh,
cry.
oh no. Oh, hi. Oh,
Bye.
thank you
Hi,
for
Jennifer.
sharing.
Thank you, Rosita. Thank you, guys. Okay, bye.
Let's see. So I have someone that wants to share. I think it said, yeah, share. Melody, did we hear from you, Melody? You wanted to share your idea, which would be great.
Sure. I'll share. That was great, by the way. Thank you guys for all of you for sharing so far. That was really great. Okay, I will share my idea. I guess mine isn't really an exact moment or anything, but whatever, I'll just start. I feel like overcoming heartbreak is the most musical thing there is. Sometimes you might be able to succumb to the symphony. Other days you're being ragged by the rhythm. Crying your heart out at night has a way of soothing you to sleep, just like the lullabies your parents would sing you. But the ebbs and flows, the highs and lows, they're notes. The notes that remind you that you're alive. That was it.
Melody, can you read it one more time?
Sure. I feel like overcoming heartbreak is the most musical thing there is. Some days you might be able to succumb to the symphonies. Other days you're being ragged by the rhythm. Crying your heart out at night has a way of soothing you to sleep, just like the lullabies your parents would sing to you. But the ebbs and flows, the highs and lows, they're notes. The notes that remind you that you're alive.
I was just like jotting down some lines because that was really beautiful. I like your use of the S's. I love the S sound. Succumb, symphony, soothing. And then I also like the poem flowed. It did have like a rhythm, ebbs and flows, highs and lows. It was very beautiful. Thank you so much for sharing.
Thank you. Appreciate you.
If anyone else wants to share, and there is like time left, or if you have any questions, please feel free. And thanks to all those who shared. If you'd like more time, because there is time, you can have 5 more minutes and then we can share again. So just wait, you can write in the chat. I do have a question. Do you have any advice for changing up the rhythm of your works? Lily, oh my goodness, that's a good question. Do I have something flowing the same? Do you have any advice for changing up the rhythm of your works? There are many things that you can read the poem out loud many times. If I feel that something it's not done or doesn't sound the way I would like it, I put it aside. I also do, if I'm putting something aside, I'll spend time like reading, observing, digging within, which is, I think, the most difficult part. Like when I did my TEDx talk and I had to share poems that I had written years back, to go back to that place was very difficult. I think that reading your poems out loud, maybe, you know, one day and then taking a few days and then reading it again out loud. Taking time to also like do other things like read, observe, I think work really well. And what I do too, when it's a poem, I'm like, something is missing. I don't really like the wording. I always look for like synonyms of words. I'm like, well, I noticed that here I would like to have the S sound or the ch sound, or maybe like I'll switch codes here, I'll switch language here on this part. But even like just thinking like, okay, instead of this word, I think that there can be a different word that could convey the same thing. So maybe I'll look for a synonym or I'll find, because a lot of times too, it's when you read it out loud and you hear the poem like, oh, yeah, I can use another word. So taking just the time after you write it, taking the time to now really analyze like line by line and piece of piece, really piece by piece, really helps with that. I hope that that answers a little bit your question. If not, I can try again. But thank you, Lily, for asking. It says, and Lily, do you usually read your poems out loud? I know everyone has a different process, whatever works for you. For me, reading it out loud, so I can hear like, works a lot for me. And also, by the way, sharing it with someone else. Like if you have someone that would hear your work, my husband, I always share with him, I'm like, what do you think? What do you think? And then I'll look for synonyms, et cetera, et cetera. But if you have someone that you can share your work with, that also helps a lot, getting that feedback. Let's see. Thank you. This is very helpful. I appreciate it. Oh, I'm always okay, but I guess I don't know if there are any other questions. And I'm looking at the chat. If you guys, by the way, would like to email me or contact me or share it, perhaps, because for me, when I did a workshop, I didn't finish the poem in the time that was allotted. I actually went home and thought about it for a few days. So if a poem is born, you know, a few days later based on this workshop, you can always contact me and share. I love to hear happy and good news, and this has been so much fun, and I appreciate all of you and the time that you have taken to be here. You can also follow me on Instagram, Elaine_Nadal. But I think that if there are no questions, we're all set. I'll wait here. And you could just say your questions out loud if you have any questions. Or any comments. Okay, so I'm not getting anything. Okay, I have a run here. Oh, you're welcome, Eileen. You're welcome so much. So I'm not getting any other questions. Like I said, if you guys wanna oh, thank you, Rescue. Thank you, Rescue Poetics. If you guys wanna contact me, you can email me. And thanks for sharing your poem. Yes, thanks to yo, awesome. Yes.
So when you write a song, I mean, it starts with the writing, with the poetry of it, with the sharing of whatever theme we want to share.
Mm-hmm.
But the music is separate. It takes a musician. I'm no musician.
Yeah. Are you interested in writing songs?
Not especially, but I'm wondering, you know, about the process. I am musically deprived, so I don't want to say I want to go there.
Yeah. Well, I have a degree in music, and what I've learned in my music degree has helped me become a better writer. And
I
that's where
bet, because the
that's where
rhythm, right?
yeah, so that's where I use like my music knowledge. There is a poem that I do. I didn't do it like for this workshop, that I actually wrote like a little piece. There's no like instruments, right? It's just voice. So I actually sang something that I wrote. It's maybe like 3 or 4 lines. It just came to me, and it's in Spanish. Like I said earlier, when it's in Spanish, it comes quickly. I went for voice, but not for instrument. And interestingly that you said that, because I just asked my friend, she's the music teacher at my school, and I asked her, I would like to take some guitar lessons because I would like to now play with the rhythms. Like for me, the rhythm, I
Now
use a lot like,
with the rhythm. There you go.
yeah.
Precision.
So I want to be able to like do like my poems with, and I actually, the Blue Bridge one that I read to you, I had someone contact me and they played music and I recited it, but they played the music, and they were like, well, this sounds like a song, which was a great compliment because that's just like, I like my style to be that way. And when they said themselves, like, oh, this sounds very musical, can we put it to music? I was like, well, great, that's great, you can do that. But I would also like to now use that music and play, you know, put some background to the poems.
Elaine,
Mhm.
is that how you
See,
say it?
Elaine. Mhm.
Sorry, I just want to share too that like my friend, he's into like writing. He's so good of a writer, but he's also so good into music. So hearing you say that, oops, sorry, my cat. So you you saying that, it makes a lot of sense. He does use like his gifts as musician to inspire his writing and his poems, and he talked a lot about guitar. So you saying like that you using the melody, yeah.
Yeah, thank you for sharing that. And like when I did this, when I planned for this workshop, like for me, music and poetry go hand in hand and help me discover myself, you know what I mean? And also in times of hardships, being able to write. Um, and yeah, like if whatever you can use, whatever gifts you have that you can use for whatever you enjoy doing, by all means do so, and keep learning and keep growing. I think I'm always thinking, okay, how can I now, you know, become a strong writer, and also for enjoyment and fulfillment. I want to learn the guitar. So that's like the next, thing. But thank you so much, Rosita, for and you write, what do you write? You fiction, poetry?
Um, I have periods where I used to write a lot of poetry. But now I'm working on my memoirs.
Oh, nice.
Right.
That's wonderful. And you can use a lot of these strategies also from memoir, because I have to kind of read like fiction. Uh, but that's great. That's awesome.
I'm thinking of including I want to publish my memoirs, and I'm thinking that I would like to include some of my poetry, so it'll be like multi-genre.
Yeah, no, that's a great idea. I think that would work really well.
Mhm.
Thank you for sharing. Liana, I see that you raised your hand. Hi, Liana.
Hi. Sorry, I was a little late for today's class.
No
So,
worries. We're
um,
glad you can join us. We're so happy you could join
well,
us.
thank you for having us. It's been interesting so far from what I've been able to hear. I kind of wanted to share before we wrapped up, just to kind of get your feedback. I tried to incorporate some of the things that I was able to capture, but it's been a while since I've been back here. So, if that's okay.
Yeah. Did you say I'm sorry, did you say you wanted to share something? Did you have a question?
Yes, I wanted to share, but I don't know if are we
Oh
on
yeah,
sharing or?
go
Yeah,
ahead,
let's
Liana.
hear it.
Sure.
Okay. Okay.
Sure. Thank you for
Um,
sharing. That's wonderful.
Thank you. So it says, after the fireworks fizzled away and the crowds began to disperse from the main stage and towards the park exit, we bobbed and weaved through the crowds of people filing from the City Field Park. Along the way, we saw police strapped with the longest guns I'd ever seen,
Ooh.
looking like they were going into a post-apocalyptic warfare.
Oh,
Girls standing on rocks to stand out from the crowd to call out to their friends. I was already on a few levels, and while I could see everything in my view with a certain degree of clarity, all I could see was him. At one point, I had to ask him how we were going to get back to his place. The first thing I could think of was calling an Uber, and then quickly, without much of a word exchanged, he stopped, looked at me, and then with both hands, one holding his camera, motions with his hands, zoom out. And then, as if I was watching a movie play out in front of me, I did. In that brief moment, with the brief exchange between the two of us, I zoomed out and I watched the world move around me. Even if for a second I felt as if I was a steward in a field of flock looking for a way out. So my brain adjusted to the environment, and that's kind of where I stopped.
And you wrote this like now during this workshop?
Yeah.
Wow.
Wow. Powerful. All those images, the guns, the crowds, the fireworks.
That's why it was so
Wow.
quiet.
It explodes.
Yeah. Wow. Liana, that's it. Wow, you wrote and I'm assuming you're gonna continue because that's very powerful images. Did you want to add something, Rosita?
Yes, I did not understand the word zoom out.
From her poem, from her, huh?
Your friend asked you to zoom out. What does it mean?
So it was
by the way.
imagine being in a field like after a concert, and you're not really seeing what's going on around you because you're so focused on what you just watched.
Right.
That when he said zoom out, what it was doing was basically narrating the environment. So I'm zooming out from where my mind is at. So essentially, to read it back, it says, and then quickly, without much of a word exchanged, he stopped, looked at me, and then with both hands, one holding his camera, he motions with the other, zoom out. And as if I was watching a movie play out in front of me, I did. And in that brief moment, with that brief exchange between the two of us, I zoomed out and I watched the world move around me.
Wow, and like I'm getting from the comments for a lot of imaging. Melody said, Lily said, I felt this at concerts too. Diana, yes, continue with this. It's very impressive. I was like, oh my goodness, she wrote all that.
Yeah.
So, thank you for sharing. I'm so glad you shared.
Thank you. Thank you. That was a great prompt. So I had somewhere to go.
Oh, I'm so happy to hear that. And I appreciate you. Thank you for sharing. And I see Mary Escalante said that she's into children's lit. Yes, music and songs. I'm writing some children books as well. Yes, music and songs are so important part of your, that's fantastic. Mari, right? Mari Escalante. If there are no more questions, we will, I think we're all set. Please feel free to contact me, email me, follow me on Instagram, and thank you so much for joining this workshop. And hopefully, oh, thank you, Melody. Thank you. Thank you so much. It says, do you mind sharing your email in the chat? Sure. So I'll put my email on the chat, and
a reminder that if people want to save the chat, to click way down with la carita, the smiley face. Next to it is 3 dots. Just click on that and it will say save chat.
And I'm putting also my Instagram as well.
Good. And you can do that later to update the changes.
Yeah, and like I said, it was so nice having all of you guys. You take care. Enjoy your Sunday. Enjoy your Sunday.
Thank you. Thank you. You too. Bye.
It was
Bye-bye.
wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you, Rosita. Gracias.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
De
Gracias.
nada, de nada.
It was wonderful.
Bye, everyone. See you next
Bye.
Sunday.
Thank you.
Thank you, Elaine.
Gracias a ti, Angie, por la oportunidad.
Wow.
Nada,
Thank you,
nada.
Angie. Every time you find the best people to come teach us something. Thank you. Bye.
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 Adios, Rosita.
Bye, Mari.
Angie, thank you so much.
You're
This was like
welcome.
so much fun.
Wonderful. I'm glad. It seems everyone also enjoyed it. Thank you so
Good.
much for hosting it.
Yeah, yeah. You enjoy your Sunday.
You too. Have a good one. Bye.
Cuídate, bye.